This 23-year-old woman says, I finally left him. Update. So since this is an update, let's go back to the original post and then we'll come to this update. You see, 1 month ago, all right, here we go. She asked the question, am I the a-hole for wanting to break up with my boyfriend of 6 months? Is 6 months you're in? Absolutely not. I don't even know what happened or what's the reason, but I'm going to say no. So she's 23 years old. He's 32 years old. So automatically the warning signs start going off, like red flags are waving, because y'all should know how I feel about these age gap relationships already. But let's look at the post. Okay, so me and my boyfriend have been together about 6 months. We met through a mutual friend and basically hit it off the moment we met. Great conversation, great chemistry, and he checked all my boxes for a partner. A little backstory, I met him about a year after leaving my relationship of 8 years. This woman is so young to have a relationship of 8 years. She's been in a relationship almost half of her life, if not more. But okay. He had also just ended his marriage with the mother of one of his kids. He has 2. I never saw a partner having kids as a bad thing. I've always loved kids and have always admired people who step up to raise kids that aren't their own. My stepdad, my step-grandpa, my aunt and uncle. Non-blood related to me, but all played huge parts in my life and have all raised kids that aren't theirs and are amazing, loving step-parents. When we met, I was living with my grandparents at the time because I had just moved across the country after I ended things with my partner of 8 years. I'm also a part-time student and I work part-time. Between work and school and studying, my plate is already full. When my boyfriend and I first got together, I'd cook and clean when I came over as a nice gesture because I could see his hands were full, working full-time and being a father of 2 kids. So she's already set herself up to be a wife appliance or a girlfriend appliance. All right, are we seeing this? He has full custody of the oldest and 50-50 of the youngest. He would constantly bring up how nice it was whenever I came over. He would mention that since it was such a long drive from where I was staying with my grandparents to his house, that I should just move in. I kind of laughed this off at first because we had been dating for such a short amount of time at the time. It was only 1 or 2 months. Because he's seeing her as the servant. Red flags. He ended up convincing me to move in, and at the time it sounded like a good idea to me. He told me we would have more time to spend together, more time to go on hikes together. I should also mention that I'm a very active person. I go to the gym three or 4 times a week, hiking, horseback riding, or any physical activity that I could possibly do in my free time. When we first started talking, my boyfriend made it sound like he was into all those things too, talking about how he was raised on a farm, how he just never had the time. And if I moved in, me helping around the house and with the kids, it would free up more time for us to spend together. So is he future faking? Maybe he's just mirroring? I'm stopping to talk about these manipulation tactics because she has expressed what she likes. And now he's starting to mirror her like, girl, me too. I like this too. So that just brings her in and she's just like, wow, I've really found my match. I really don't like that she has no page breaks. But she says, fast forward, I move in, somewhat against my grandparents' wishes. They think boyfriend is a good guy, but don't think that he's the guy for me. It's now been 6 months. I've been living here for about 4, and we haven't gone on a single hike, played a single sport, or done any physical activity aside from walking to the grocery store together. So he was lying. He was future faking to reel her in. She said that they had walked to the grocery store. So she says, I brought up multiple times how physical activity and an active lifestyle are things that I need for my mental and physical health. Whenever this is brought up, he constantly tells me how we have no time and that the gas money alone that it would take to get to these things makes it not worth it. Mind you, whenever he does have free time, he spends it on the couch watching anime for hours at a time or on video games, kid you not, for 6 to 8 hours at a time. All the while, I'm left with 2 kids to look after, a house to clean, and dinner to make. Now, my boyfriend is a good guy. He's a patient father and a kind boyfriend, but I feel like he's too stuck in his ways or too comfortable with the life that he now has to consider my feelings and change. So he has a girlfriend appliance. He can relax, like, cool, I got someone to watch these kids. I got someone to cook and clean for me. I reeled her in. Now I get to sit back and play video games. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see why I constantly say, don't give your 20s to these men and don't date these dudes with kids? And the age gap thing, all of this, red flags all over the place. I feel like I have become some sort of replacement for his ex-wife or a live-in nanny. It should also be a good time to mention he likes to make jokes about how a woman's place is in the kitchen, how cooking and cleaning is for women, and he only helps when we are having food that needs to be cooked on his outdoor grill, as I'm not allowed to touch it because he thinks I'll break it. I was also under the impression when I moved in that he would be paying for all of the bills, the house bills and his bills. I pay my own bills. Being as how I make minimum wage and work 20 hours a week, I can barely afford my own bills. But lately, he's been asking me to pay $500 for rent. Mind you, this is half of my monthly income. So she has to come in. She's moving in. She's now a nanny and a house cleaner and a chef. And she gets the privilege of paying him. Okay. He has a really good deal in this. And if I did pay it, I wouldn't be able to afford my own bills. I do love this man. She loves this man. She's been with him for 6 months at this particular point. I do love this man, and I don't want to abandon him with all of his responsibilities and raising 2 kids on his own. I never put much thought into being a mother and always assumed that if it happened, I would be in a loving marriage with a man that has the same outlook on life as I do. Another thing to note, not only does he not live an active lifestyle, but he doesn't see it as important for his children to either. They sit inside all day on their phones and tablets, sometimes not moving from the couch or their bed for the entire day. It makes me sad, but since these are not my children, I have no authority to put them into sports or to take them to do any physical activity. I've noticed since moving in, my mental health has significantly declined and my physical health is going down the drain. I do not know how to go about this, how to tell him I'm not happy, how to tell him I love him, but I'm not in love with him any longer, or how to leave his 2 children that I've grown very fond of and love. I've already talked to my grandparents and I'm welcome home anytime I please. Any advice on what I should do is more than welcome. I'm so sad and heartbroken that this wonderful, kind man isn't who I thought he was, because he wasn't a wonderful and kind man. He was doing and saying what he needed to do to get you to move in so he could have someone to cook and clean and watch his kids for him, so he can sit back and play video games and you could pay the bills. Please, this is the reason why I do this, so we can have these conversations about the things that these dudes do in order to reel you in and take advantage of your time, energy, and resources. But since I started at the end, we know that she left him, and she also gives us paragraph breaks, so yay for my eyes. She says, I finally left him. Back in September, I made a post, am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my boyfriend of 6 months? And every comment said yes, so I moved out October 1st. I know a lot of people on the original post wanted an update and to know that I did it, and I'm sorry for not updating. I debated on a lot if I should or not, so here we go. I had a boyfriend who had 2 kids. I work and take college classes at the same time. The relationship quickly turned into me being the caretaker for his kids and him while I also juggled work and school. Everyone who commented on my original post brought it to my attention how he turned me into a bang nanny and how I was naive. I thank all of you for that, by the way. I left October 1st and moved back into my grandma's house where I have been ever since. Life has gotten so much easier for me. I'm not constantly stressed and I don't have to worry about paying a good portion of his rent and groceries anymore. He did try to get me to come back many times, calling me, texting me how much he loves me and how he'll never find another woman like me and how I was his one true soulmate. I wasn't buying it. I stood firm in my choice and my life has been better. He texted me the other day telling me he slept with an ex-fling of his. She is older and known for sleeping with anyone who looks at her. He told me how disgusting he felt after and how he wished I didn't hurt him so much, basically telling me it was all my fault he slept with her. Long story short, my life is amazing now. He isn't in it. I've gone on 2 girls' trips and 3 solo hikes, and my smile has never been brighter. I owe it all to you, Reddit. This is the thing that I love about Reddit in these social media spaces, in my communities on both TikTok and YouTube. This is where women can come to get advice. And I love it when women are open to that advice and receptive, because not everybody is open to advice or receptive. And that's okay. We still give it because somebody else is in the comment section watching and learning. Anyways, gotta love a great update. So that's how we're starting this one out. How we're starting the day, with a great update. I'm not going to do many of the comments, but like this person, Star Angel says, love this kind of update. So happy for you. And then I wanted to get to Dismal Remote. Dismal Remote says, me too. I have to point out that his behavior when wanting to get back with you is called love bombing, and it's manipulation. The tell is, why was he not like this before when it mattered in the relationship? He was not paying attention during the relationship, and now that he has consequences for that, of having to do things on his own, he wants you to come back. That is not him being loving, it's him trying to save himself at your expense. Well done for not going back. I wish you the best. I wanted to get to that part right there because he needs to get her back in any way possible. He's going to say what he has to say. And if she were to go back, he would act right for a couple of weeks and then fall back into being lazy. So I just wanted to point that out. Juicy JPEG says, exactly. Real love doesn't show up only when someone's scared to lose what they took for granted. So I'm just putting that out there. Love bombing is a thing. Mirroring is a thing. The way that they try to get you, sometimes they can't keep it up. And that's the difference between manipulation and someone really having good intentions in a relationship. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think of this. Like, comment, and share. We have a great story time here of a woman seeing red flags and acting on them and leaving this person alone instead of letting her brain be overridden by some kind of social indoctrination where we give these dudes the benefit of the doubt. So let's look at this Threads post from Purple Dothraki. She says, so guys, this just happened. Please tell me if I'm in the wrong. I met this guy today. We chat, text, and FaceTime today. He asked me to meet for drinks after he gets off work tonight, and I said, sure. It was going to be a late meetup around 10 p.m. The place he chose was closer to his house. Red flag going off. About 45 minutes from me, red flags going off because it's already a 10 p.m. meetup. At first, I didn't mind because I like trying new places, but when night fell, I changed my mind about the location because we were going to be drinking. Since this was a casual meetup, I didn't think changing the location was a big deal. So about 2 hours before the date, I asked if we could meet downtown, which is about 10 minutes closer to me. Downtown has many bars to choose from. He called me and I could tell he was annoyed by the location change. He said I'd already agreed and said that if we vibe or I get too tipsy, listen to this part, we could just go to his place. So she's waving this red flag. Anyway, I suggest a place downtown that Google said was popular. He didn't like that location. He ended up texting me that he thinks we should reschedule because he couldn't find another bar to go to. Literally dozens of bars downtown. So I blocked him. We just met today, never met in person. So is there really a need for an explanation? Well, he ended up calling me from a different number to ask why I blocked him. I explained my reasoning, but I also told him that we're strangers. There's literally no skin in the game. Me blocking you shouldn't even matter. He basically called me childish and said I was a bad communicator. I guess I could have had a conversation with him about why I was discontinuing contact before blocking. So was I in the wrong? He was also giving strong, I just want to have sex, so I'm going to try to get you tipsy. And since you're 45 minutes away from your house, you will come over to mine vibes. This is a great teaching tool right here. So they just met and they're already trying to meet up. I do believe that mixing in alcohol early on is a bad game plan. And I am so glad that so many women are moving away from alcohol to begin with, because I do believe that it lowers your inhibitions. And you do not want to have lowered inhibitions with a perfect stranger. You do not know this person. Now, meeting up with someone you just met that very first day before you even really talk to them or know anything about them. Yes, I know that they were texting and FaceTiming, great, but you still don't really know anything about that person. But meeting up with someone so late. So basically, you're already going to be tired, especially if you had a long day, and on a weekday at that, when you have to go to work the next day. Absolutely terrible idea. 45 minutes away and drinking with a perfect stranger. Now, where also she starts to see the red flags. She said no. She made some changes. And people have suggested this too. Learn how these men will act when you say no or make some changes. She said, let's change it to make it a little bit more convenient for her, just 10 minutes closer to her. And he balked at that. He said no. He got frustrated because she tried to have just a slight convenience for herself. And he said no. He wanted to keep things as convenient for him as possible. And he didn't like that simply she took some assertiveness and created a small boundary for him to jump over. He was like, And so she blocked him. He called her childish. Some of the people in the comments called her childish, but I think blocking is a perfectly reasonable thing to do to save your time and energy, because these perfect strangers are not owed a conversation. That's how I feel about it. But y'all can let me know how you feel about blocking. I don't think that these people are owed anything, especially when there's no investment, and he didn't give a good goddamn about her safety. She's like, I don't want to be drinking and be that far away. And he didn't care. So I think that it was perfectly reasonable for her to save herself. Now, I do want to look at some of these comments. And now we have a man. We will return after a brief mansplanation. This is That Boy So New Orleans. He says, the mental gymnastics that women do to come up with these scenarios and paint men in a negative light is honestly impressive, if nothing else. 1, you agreed to go out for drinks, so that wasn't an issue. 2, going out for drinks doesn't mean you have to get tipsy or flat out drunk. Maybe have some self-control. Strange concept, I know. 3, if a bar location is going to bother you, maybe don't accept dates from strangers and stay single. Again, strange concept, I know. Remember, folks, we all have free will, use it wisely. Absolutely, we all have free will. And just because we make a decision doesn't mean that we're unable to change locations or change our minds or change anything. So the way this man said this is there was no contract, nothing set in stone. This isn't a hard-clad contract. They made a decision. She was like, cool, sure. And then she was like, she thought about it for a little bit and she wanted to change some things. Wanting to change things does not mean anything, especially for somebody that you're not all the way brought into. So the way he came in and was just like, okay, if you're not going to just stick and stay with your first thought, just stay single. But this is what these men have to do and how they have to come in and make it about the decision making of a woman, because we're not allowed to see some red flags and then change things. Susie says, go away, you absolute numbskull. McCraig, Texas says, numbskull is such an underutilized insult. I think I will begin using it today. Marl for Graham says, so many words to say, you've done this. And then we have Kate at the bottom saying, you wouldn't last a day as one of us with those survival skills. Yep, you said you were going to go to a bar. Now you got to go. You just have got to do it. You're not allowed to change your mind at all. Now we have another man. He says, sharing personal dating situations online isn't great for your well-being. What you did for your own safety and what your gut told you is ultimately your decision alone. I can't tell if you're posting this for support for the community or just for attention. but asking random strangers to validate a personal choice you made almost seems disingenuous. How you position this, while most likely true, is one-sided as no one knows his point of view. I just always cringe at the "you won't believe this" post. Now, this type of thing, this is a man saying this, obviously, and they don't like the community that we're in where women talk to other women and say, absolutely not, that's a red flag, don't do that again, because we're having these conversations with each other. We're talking about red flags. They don't like it when we talk about red flags. They prefer that we stay in these situations that may be bad for us, even though on the back end, if we make stupid decisions, if we make mistakes, if we fall into traps, they will be like, you should have known better. And so they have been getting put up on game for generations. And now that women have the opportunity to talk and share and warn other people and role play, they don't like it. He's just like, this isn't great for you. Like, he's positioning it like he cares about her. This isn't great for your well-being. It's great for all of our well-being. That's the reason why we're going to continue to have these conversations in the public square, because people like Tailored Beyond don't want us to have these conversations. So I'm going to keep talking louder. Peppermint Petty says, is your response an attempt to educate or shame her? I can't tell if you're posting this for support for the community or just for attention. Either way, it seems kind of disingenuous. And to that, Tailored Beyond says, I think it's quite clear. My response is to share my thoughts on the dangers of the vicious cycle. I was also 1000% ready for witty folks like yourself in tow of anything that wasn't in total alignment with what she's saying. I don't exactly know what that means, but he got pushback because he does seem like he's just looking out for men and wanting us to fall into those traps. She says, so shame and performing for your own selfish reasons. Got it. Exactly. We don't need to hear any more from him, but I wanted to put that out there that somebody did call him out. I want y'all to join the conversation and let me know what you think. Like, comment, and share. Trigger warning, because this is gross as hell. Trigger warning, this is gross as hell. It has to do with hygiene and sexual relations. So I'm just putting that out there. She asked the question in the Am I the A-hole subreddit, asking him to clean himself before giving head. Am I the a-hole? The fact that you even have to ask someone to clean themselves before any kind of sexual contact is gross to me. I believe in hygiene. I believe in daily showers. I know that not everybody believes in daily showers, but I believe in daily showers. And I do understand that some people will say something about hard water and your skin and dryness, blah, 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 whatever. There are all kind of creams and lotions and oils and blah, blah, blah. I do not believe in not taking showers, period, point blank. And absolutely not. When there's going to be sexual contact, I believe that you should be clean. I do not believe that your meat stick should go into the peaches without being clean, because that invites all kind of bacteria. It shouldn't be going anywhere near your face because that invites bacteria. I do not believe in any of this unhygienic mess, and that should be a hard no. I'm doing all of this talking, but I should be doing the post. So yes, let's get into it. Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend to clean himself before I give him head? No, you're not. So let's just get that out the way. The way he reacts makes me feel like an a-hole, but then I also feel like he's being unfair and he is actually the a-hole. So he asks for head, or I instigate. I start to go down, and if all smells fine, then no problems. But if things smell amiss, then I'll ask if he can go give it a quick wash. Every time I ask this, it causes problems. I've tried to explain I'm not being rude, and I've worded it every way possible to avoid conflict. And every time it ends with him being angry at me. I know it isn't sexy to ask this, and it ruins the moment. So half of the time I just don't say anything and deal with it because I can't be bothered with the argument and silent treatment. But on the other hand, I also don't see why it's such a problem that I want the thing I'm putting in my mouth to be clean. I don't even want him to go down on me unless I'm freshly showered. He has said multiple times that he doesn't care if I'm showered because he likes my natural smell. I do appreciate this, but that's his choice. I wish I could be as unbothered as him, but I just can't. But I would never get upset if he asked me to clean myself beforehand because, again, basic cleanliness. So an example scenario from tonight. He strips off and I politely ask him to go freshen up first. I know I should have maybe given it a chance, but there have been plenty of occasions recently where it didn't smell great, so I just thought I get it out the way. Oh my God, the women go through. Oh my God, you don't have to go through this. You do not have to go through this. You should not have to go through this. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so bothered by this. All right. He immediately gets on the defensive and says he showered before work, which would have been roughly 6 to 7 hours prior, before working in 26 degrees Celsius heat and 10,000% humidity. And he said that if anything smelt bad, he would go wash. As I got closer, it just smelt like a hint of pee and just musty, sweaty penis balls. And basically just not something I want to put in my mouth near my face, regardless of how much I love him. Again, I asked if he could please just go quickly, give it at least rinse it. He said I'm being dramatic, being a kid, making excuses, and that I'm not normal. I tried to explain that it's nothing personal and that of course we smell and get sweaty in this heat, but I checked out when he started rambling about how he made me dinner last night, almost as if I owed him a BJ for this. By the way, I gave him head yesterday morning without the expectation of dinner last night. I feel this is relevant, LOL. Anyway, conversation ended there and silent treatment started and he went to sleep angry at me. He would rather go to sleep angry rather than go take a shower. I'm so irritated by the things that these people make these people lonelier. Who is the a-hole here? I know playing the blame game is no good, but after reading this back, I'm more convinced he is the a-hole, especially for making me feel bad about it. I don't know, maybe a male's perspective would help. Also, any girls relate to this? If yes, how did you fix the issue to get them to listen without getting upset and defensive? I know it seems like a stupid issue, but so fed up of repeating this scenario, I'd ask my friends, but they will always side with me, so hoping to find some unbiased input here. Do not put dirty stuff in your mouth. You're not going to drop an apple on the floor and pick it up and eat it. Why would you put something in your mouth that has pee and must on it? Let's not. Just no. Now let's check out some of the comments. Destro says, maybe I'm just a freak, but if my girl asks me to do just about anything to receive a BJ, I just do it. And then he hones in on, he has said multiple times he doesn't care if I'm showered and likes my natural smell. He says, test this. Go to the gym, do a bunch of cardio, walk home, spend the rest of your day in your gym clothes. Then when he gets home, sit on his face. And then Nowarian says, grow out the bush too for the full experience. He might legitimately be into it. Now we got Prajint Smongonk. Okay, Prajint Smongonk says, the last time I let that happen, I woke up in the middle of the night to someone petting my bush like it was the goodest boy at a friend's house for a sleepover. So now no bush, so no pets. Petting it like it's the goodest boy. That made me laugh. I had to highlight that for y'all. That comment made for a tangent of silliness. Xenogazer says, laughing my butt off. I know this probably wasn't a great experience for you, but your description has me howling. Ack Cutter says, I'm sitting here wondering if my interpretation of this is correct. And it would occur to me that this comment got his or her pubes pet. Like, yes, it's a bush just rubbing hair. Xenogazer says, I'm imagining a pat, 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 good kitty. At the bottom it says, soft kitty, soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Like I said, this is a silly tangent. Sugar Magnolia says, for real, I just laugh loud as hell alone in my room at 2:30 in the morning. Probably Kill says, soft kitty, warm kitty. I'm so sorry, LOL. Little ball of fur, purr, LOL. Okay, Prajint Smog Onk comes back, says, haha, lol, I'm a guy. I don't have a kitty cat down there. Also the person, also male, giving me gentle pats to try to not wake me, but I did anyway. We've been together since to this day. So he comes in and explains that he's a man and so is his partner. Shite Cycle says, oh goodness, this is a lot. I've spread his, behind and shaved the taint with love, of course, is actually a good bonding activity. Okay. I'm with the person at the bottom. She just says, nope. Like, absolutely not. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. But basically, what I am saying is don't put dirty pee stuff and sweaty stuff in your mouth. It doesn't go there. Pee stuff, sweaty stuff, ballsy stuff, it doesn't go here. Don't do that. Okay. Join the conversation. Hygiene is important. Tell the others. Tell all of the others. Like, comment, and share.
An educated woman is a threat to anybody that benefits off of her not being educated, specifically Black women. For so long, people have benefited off of Black women being uneducated, Black women falling into the mammy trope or the welfare queen trope. And ironically, when Black women started to value education and understand the importance of education and what education can do for them, becoming the number one demographic in the country to be degreed, especially with higher degrees, graduate level degrees, doctorate level degrees. Y'all can see this happening in real time. If our education wasn't important, if it didn't matter, if we didn't need it, if it didn't make a difference, why are they constantly moving the goalposts? They're constantly making changes that prevent women, specifically Black women, opportunities from becoming more and more educated. Do not let it stop you. Get creative and figure out ways to get your education.